American Legion. Remain standing for the invocation by honorary chaplain and Korean War veteran Paul O'Keefe.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, our Supreme Commander in heaven, we thank you for giving us this opportunity to honor and pay our respects to the Saratoga County Deceased Veteran of the Month. For the month of June, we are honoring John J. Jack Ivers from the town of Charlton. John proudly served his country twice. He served with the United States Navy during World War II, the greatest generation. He received his discharge in 1946, and in 1948, he joined the United States Marine Corps. Ended up being a brother Korean War veteran. I'm proud of him. He was discharged in 1952 at the rank of sergeant. Sadly, he passed away in 2010. May the light of our Lord enter the heart of the family of the deceased Jack Ivers, to give them peace, light, and hope for the future. May God our Lord strengthen the hearts of all the relatives of the deceased so that they can continue to live all the days without the person in their lives. Our Supreme Commander in heaven tells us when we lose someone we love, we must learn not to live without them, but to live and love with the precious memories that they left behind. And may John Jack Ivers continue to rest in eternal peace, and let the perpetual light shine very brightly upon Jack's soul. Fair winds and following seas. Semper Fi, Marine, my buddy Korean War veteran. Amen.
Please be seated. Next, I'd like to introduce Frank McClement. He's the director of the Saratoga Veteran Service Agency, and he'll read some remarks.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And I just want to take a moment to introduce, he forgot to introduce himself, but helping me out with the MC duties today is my veteran service officer. His name is Tamim Ferris. He's a combat infantryman serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. And we're real proud of Tamim, and he's filling in because next month I'm going to be away at a conference. So we thought it would be great to do a little dry run here. But next month you got the good looking guy. So you're in. All right. Yeah. Big round of applause for Tamim. As mentioned, my name is Frank McClement. I'm the director of the Veteran Service Agency, and I'd like to welcome you to our ceremony honoring our deceased veterans. We've done over 300 of these ceremonies. The program started in August of 1999, and it's our highest honor and one of our proudest traditions. And on behalf of the board, I want to say thank you, and thank you to Jack Ivers' family for allowing us this opportunity. We gather today in profound gratitude and deep admiration as we remember and honor a remarkable life, a life of courage, principle, and of service to something greater than self. John Jack Ivers was more than a patriot. He was a warrior in the truest sense, a quiet sentinel of freedom, and a man whose actions spoke louder than any words could. He answered his country's call not once, but twice. As a young sailor in the United States Navy during World War II, he served with honor in one of the most trying times in our nation's history, when the stakes couldn't have been higher. Then, years later, he again stepped forward, this time with the United States Marine Corps in the rugged hills of Korea, proving that his courage knew no boundaries and his commitment to duty knew no limits. He first entered service in the Navy on December 1st, 1944. As a young radio man aboard the USS Lake Champlain, he stood at the heart of naval operations that helped shape outcomes. The job of a radio man was not a glamorous one. It wasn't headline grabbing or front page news, but it was certainly vital, utterly essential to every ship's survival and success. The USS Lake Champlain joined the fleet late in the war after major combat operations had ceased. She still played a crucial role in the immediate post-war period. After commissioning, Lake Champlain completed her shakedown cruise in the Caribbean and was prepared to join the Pacific Fleet. However, Japan surrendered in August of 1945 before she could see combat action. The Lake Champlain played a vital role in Operation Magic Carpet, which was the massive effort to bring home American service members after the war. In late 1945, she made record-breaking transatlantic crossings, including a record 4-day, 8-hour crossing from Gibraltar to Norfolk, Virginia, bringing U.S. troops back home from Europe. Jack and his shipmates served with distinction during the transition from war to peace, helping to bring tens of thousands of U.S. servicemen home from Europe and the Pacific. Her crew, including Jack, played a key role in one of the largest logistical operations in U.S. Navy history. He would discharge on July 14, 1946, at the rank of Petty Officer 3rd Class. And for his service in the Navy, Jack received the American Campaign Medal, the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, and the World War II Victory Medal. Jack would leverage his skills for about a year working for the railroad as a telegraph operator, but Jack's military service and history wouldn't end there. If it did, we would certainly all still be here today. But Jack's story was only just beginning. He re-entered service in the United States Marine Corps on January 12, 1948. He would be assigned to the 1st Marine Division at Camp Pendleton, California. And he would leverage his skills again as a radio man, but was assigned as a radio operator in an infantry unit. In Korea, amidst the bitter cold and brutal combat, Jack Ivers distinguished himself in a moment that few would ever forget. Elements of the 1st Marine Division were advancing from Wonsan towards the Chosin Reservoir, engaging in skirmishes with North Korean forces in early November when his command post came under ferocious enemy assault. He stood his ground, not to protect just a position on a map, but to protect the lives of his fellow Marines. His resolve, his leadership, and his refusal to back down turned the tide of that battle and saved lives. For his heroism that day, he was awarded the Silver Star, one of our nation's highest honors for valor in combat. And I'd like to read from the quoted citation. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action against the enemy while serving with a Marine Infantry Battalion in Korea on 3 November 1950. As a radio operator attached to a rifle company, Corporal Ivers was in position at the company command post when it was brought under heavy attack by the enemy forces using small arms, automatic weapons, grenades, and mortars. Corporal Ivers turned his radio over to another qualified operator and joined in the defense of the command post. With absolute disregard for his own personal safety, he continually exposed himself to enemy fire in order to bring accurate fire to bear on enemy positions. When a group of the enemy was discovered moving along a covered route leading to high ground which overlooked the command post, he voluntarily and on his own initiative collected all available hand grenades and moved alone to high ground in order to interrupt the enemy. During the battle, he personally killed 16 of the enemy and destroyed 1 enemy machine gun. His daring and aggressive actions aided materially in the successful defense of the command post and were a source of inspiration to all who observed him. Corporal Ivers' heroic actions were in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. Well, fortunately, Jack made it home that day, and he was discharged from the United States Marine Corps on January 11th, 1952, at the rank of sergeant. In addition to his Silver Star, for his service in the Marine Corps, he received the Presidential Unit Citation with 1 Bronze Star, the Korean Service Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal, as well as the United Nations Medal. Jack was a protector, not just in uniform, but in every aspect of his life. He protected his nation, his comrades, and his loved ones with unwavering devotion. And today we honor not just the sailor or the Marine, not just the Silver Star recipient, but the man behind the uniform, a man of character, of sacrifice, and of honor. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Joe Grasso, Town of Charlton Supervisor.
Thank you, Tamim. It's quite an honor today to be here to help honor Jack Ivers for a town which I'm the supervisor of. This opportunity comes to each town within Saratoga County about once every 2 years. And when Frank McClement had come to me and said, "Hey, there's an opportunity in the month of June to recognize one of your veterans," it's quite an honor and not one that we take lightly or pass up. So naturally, I went back to my town board members and I said, is there somebody that any of you know that might be worthy of this honoring this month? And Ed Snyder, the newest town board member within the town of Charlton, jumped at the chance and brought to me the name of Jack Ivers and said, "This is somebody that I think is well deserving of this recognition and somebody that we should put forward." I'd like to thank Ed for doing the homework and working with the Ivers family to help make this ceremony today is what it is. I'd also like to thank the family members from Jack to take part in the ceremony. Jack obviously had a significant military career, but he also left a permanent mark on our community with the beautiful family that he had. So thank you for joining us today. Also like to thank my fellow elected officials that are up here with me today and taking time out of your schedule to help with this recognition. I see you so very often at these special occasions, and it's great to have you join us today. So with that, I would like to ask Ed Snyder, my fellow town board member from the town of Charlton, to come up. And the town board recently passed a proclamation honoring Jack's service, and Ed will say a few words. So thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you again for everyone attending today. This is great to see the turnout for Jack. As Joe had mentioned, I'm new to the town board. And when he came to us, asked our opinion and thoughts on who in the town we may know that would be worthy of this recognition, Jack immediately came to my mind. I met Jack well over 30 years ago. My father used to take me over to his farm, starting when I was about 10 years old, and introduced me to him. My father worked with Jack at GE years and years and years ago, and it was great to listen to Jack and to hear his experiences. He would share them, some of them with me, but he. Looking back, it was, I didn't understand the full gravity of what he was, giving me at that time. Looking back now, I wish I had those opportunities. I could sit with him and have those same conversations and see him in a different light at this, at this point in my life. Jack, the stories that he told, he didn't tell me them in humility, but, he always told you a story for purpose. There was a meaning, there was something behind why he was telling you. Explaining what it was. And for me, he was telling me about the Marine Corps and, the sense of duty and how you learn to respect authority. And he would tell me, every time I would see him, he would say, "How you doing today, Gunny?" And that's how he, always, would address me. And then, I could still see his smile. And again, this is well over 30 years ago, and I could still hear his voice in that saying. Just comes right to my mind. And, as it wasn't long, it was probably 6 years I got to spend with them from, 10 years of age to, 16, 18 or so, before I went off to college. And, I used to be able to deer hunt on the farm, and Jack would say, "Well, if you're going to deer hunt on the farm, first thing you're going to do is I want to see you shoot," so it wasn't just anything, it was always something. Jack would always test me, and And, you know, and it wasn't testing, it was really a teaching opportunity for him to carry on all that knowledge that he had. Because it would evolve into something, all right, you have a deer out there, you know, 200 yards, and now it's walk, you know, he would relate it to, you know, something in his life, you know, real life battle. All right, now pretend that deer is walking. How far do you have to lead it? And it was just a great, great lessons that he would teach me, and the respect and everything. So it's with great honor that we have this proclamation. So Shane and Scott, if you would come up, I'd like to present this to you.
Right. Next, I'd like to introduce the chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Philip C. Barrett.
I just want to thank Frank for reading that information about that incredibly brave action that Jack took at that particular time that obviously saved the command post, saved fellow soldiers, and probably some high-ranking individuals who were part of the planning of the operation that they were taking on. And also obviously being a very important strategic spot with the command post. And, you know, we hear so many great stories monthly about veterans and what they've done and what they did. And after they left service, the lives that they built after they returned home. And I can't remember a particular story or example of bravery like we just heard from Frank about Jack Ivers. It's truly awe-inspiring, and I think it's an opportunity for us all to ask ourselves, what would we do in that situation? Would we have the courage to do what Jack did and round up those grenades, get to high ground, and take out the enemy? Thank God he did. And that's a great legacy. And hopefully some of those stories he did share with you. A lot of veterans, especially from that era, a lot of them didn't want to talk about their experiences in war, but hopefully he did and shared some of that with you. And I know those would be great memories for you forever. The legacy that he's left in the military, serving twice, the very long list of commendations, high-ranking medals that he was awarded, are one part of his life. The other part of his legacy are his 3 sons and extended family, some of which are with us here today. And I know he'd be looking down and being very proud of everything that his family has done over the years. In a small way, as a Board of Supervisors, we want to help keep his legacy alive. And that's why we're here today. We're honored to say how blessed we are as a county that Jack Ivers was a part of our county for many years. And we're very glad to see his family and friends here to carry on that legacy. So thank you very much. I have here on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, I have a proclamation. And because he served twice in 2 conflicts, we have the Korean War Medal and the World War II Medal. And again, on behalf of a grateful county, your great supervisor, Joe Grasso, and the entire Board of Supervisors, God bless you and thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce the Saratoga County Clerk, Craig Hayner.
Thank you, Tamim. It is truly a privilege to be here with you today, and what a wonderful turnout this is to honor a great man. Obviously didn't know him, but we had a chance to talk a little bit about farming, right? And of course, that's near and dear to my heart too. But you know, Frank's team does such a great job every month putting together the information for us to have, and I thank Joe and Ed for giving us even more information about his life. As I was looking at what Frank's office had provided me, I was reflecting on his life, and a thought came to my mind, and I'm reminded by a famous quote of Thomas Paine, who wrote, "Those who expect to reap the blessings of freedom must, like men, undergo the fatigues of supporting it." And when we think about him not only serving in World War II, but also serving in the Korean War, going back in to serve, that is the definition of what Thomas Paine was talking about, and there's no doubt about that. And then the true valor that he demonstrated in times of extreme danger. As Supervisor Barrett said, what a lesson is. It makes us really reflect and ask ourselves, what would we do in that kind of situation? And so I think what a wonderful pick you had in the town of Charlton this month for the deceased ceremony, veteran ceremony. And, you know, we often think about what American exceptionalism is all about. And this is what American exceptionalism. Yes, we've invented great things. We have, you know, a nation that is unlike any other one that's ever been around. But it comes down to the people who make it exceptional. And I have no doubt that he was. So I've written a special commemoration that you can read at your leisure. I'd like to present the family now, but thank you for the opportunity to honor him today.
Next, I'd like to introduce the Saratoga County District Attorney, Karen Hagen.
The podium's bigger than I am, so I come over here every month. But I'm honored to join my colleagues in government here today to honor Mr. Ivers. And I am struck by a couple of things as I listen today. First and foremost is we all enjoy the freedoms that we have in the work that we do as government officials because of people like Mr. Ivers. They stood up, they said, I am here to defend democracy, freedom, and rights for all of the people that were there then and all of us who came afterwards. That to me is a gift that has immense value, something that we cannot monetize, but we can appreciate and celebrate. And so I'm glad to join with all of my colleagues in government to do all of that today. On a personal note, my father was a radio man in World War II. And I just have to ask, when we would have gatherings of the family and my father would sit down, my mother's good silver would be out on the table. My father would take his teaspoon and would tap out in Morse code different things. And we were supposed to try and figure out what he was tapping. I couldn't get anything more than SOS, but he tried for years. And I don't know if it was just him. My guess is any radio man would want to try and show that skill many, many years later. So I hope that brings a smile to you for having experienced that yourselves. It clearly did to me in a memory about my dad. But on behalf of the men and women in my office, as the district attorney's office, we handle criminal cases in ensuring that the rights of crime victims, our community, and the person accused are all taken care of, and we make sure that they are protected. And Mr. Ivers was clearly someone who did that on behalf of all of us. And so I say thank you and join in the chorus of celebration of his honor and memories today. Thank you.
Thank you. She did it.
Next, I'd like to introduce Amy Madden, representing New York State Assemblywoman Mary Beth Wall.
It is an honor to be here today to celebrate your dad and your uncle, your grandfather, all this, and the mark he's left on history. It's very inspiring to me to hear the story, and I'm sure it's marked your lives, and you should be very proud. I'm here on behalf of Assemblywoman Walsh and just want to thank you as a family for the way you've shared your dad, your family with the country, and for the sacrifices that have had to be made for your family as he was doing what he was doing to help bring freedom for us. So to all of you, our deepest thanks. And he's a hero in uniform, and I'm sure a hero for your family. And on behalf of the New York State Assembly, I'd like to present you with this citation.
Next, I'd like to introduce Michael Keneally, representing Senator James Tedisco.
Thank you. Well, the senator certainly regrets his absence today. However, on behalf of him and all the staff, we just pay a debt of gratitude to Jack. Everything he's done, everything he's meant to you, and everything he's meant to us. You know, the word hero gets thrown around kind of loosely, but after hearing Frank share everything he did, I could tell you without a doubt, he would certainly be classified as a hero. And what the senator has done to honor him is he has procured one of the actually most high honor that anyone can receive from the New York State Senate, and that is the Liberty Medal. And just to show you, how these don't just get handed out and passed around easily. There's a long process of scrutiny. Sometimes Frank could attest to this. Sometimes we don't even get it on time because we're spending so much time scrutinizing all the information that's given to them. But this was an easy one, as you can imagine. And on behalf of the senator and the staff, I'd like to present you with this Liberty Medal, which I'm going to take out of my pocket. It'd be embarrassing if I didn't have it, right? And a certificate along with it. So thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to introduce Congressman Paul Tonko.
Thank you, Tamim, and Frank and Tamim both. Thank you for your service to the veterans of Saratoga County. And I thank the chairman of the board for the invitation, along with Chairman Ian of the Veterans Committee, for the cherished opportunity to share thoughts about our veterans that are honored each and every month. So a great exercise, I believe, to remind us of the strength and the devotion of our military to the fundamentals of this nation, to protect and promote the freedoms we enjoy, and to be a beacon of hope to freedom-loving people around the world. So, you know, certainly in that category is the distinguished soul of John Jack Ivers, standing here today to thank you as a family. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Scott. And thank you to the many nieces, nephews, grandchildren that I met here. This is quite a crowd, as some have indicated. It was a great turnout. And Supervisor Grasso, thank you, Joe and Ed, for sharing more personally the strength and his love of community in the town and certainly in the county. So we gather today with very distinguished members from the military, retired. We have our veterans who are here and veteran organizations represented. And always a pleasure to be with Chaplain Paul, who does such a loyal job in serving as a rep each and every month. You know, I listened to all of the discussion here and looked at the biography. And if I have my math correct, 17 years old when he entered into the Navy. That's an amazing fact that, you know, as a teenager, offering himself to service of this nation and doing it first through the Navy as a radio man, and enjoyed, Karen, that discussion about radio man at the table. But some skills stay with them forever. And just good to know that he did his share in the European, African, and Middle Eastern theater to make a difference on behalf of victory in World War II. And then shortly thereafter, a 4-year stint, if I have it correct again, with the Marines. Once a Marine, always a Marine. So, you know, your dad, with all of his understood strength and character and determination and undeniable patriotism, really reflects tremendously the spirit of the greatest generation. One that was about commitment, one that was about responsibility and devotion to a cause greater than oneself. But I think one of those values attributed to that generation, and certainly to the veterans in that time, in that era, was one of humility. They did what they thought was expected of them and didn't share it oftentimes, didn't share those stories. So it is good oftentimes to get the overview of what they had done in the background that speaks to their, again, strength as an individual. So, and to have him then return after having been awarded the Silver Star for great bravery, and again, putting himself in harm's way and assisting his fellow members of the troop to do well. So we thank him for his service. We share with you the great honor to recognize him for all that he meant to this nation and our freedoms. And to know that he came back home, worked at GE, a powerful place, right, that was utilizing the skills of our veterans in a powerful way. And then to know that he raised family and built a community, just cherishing the freedoms for which he fought. So in honor, in recognition, and in tribute to this, you know, person of distinction, I ask that a flag be flown over our nation's capital in honor and respect and in memory of John J. Ivers, Jack Ivers, for a person of extraordinary support to this nation. So I'll present that flag to you now with my prayer and hope that he rests comfortably in the arms of his Creator. So God bless him.
Please rise for the flag. You may be seated. Please welcome Supervisor Aaron Murray, who is the chairman of our Veterans Committee here in Saratoga County.
What a beautiful ceremony today it is to honor such a great veteran, John Jack Ivers. And thank you for making the selection, Supervisor Grosso and Ed Snyder, for that. I'd like to offer the following award. The United States of America honors the memory of John J. Ivers. This certificate is awarded by a grateful nation in recognition of devoted and selfless consecration to the service of our country and the armed forces of the United States. Signed, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States.
And finally, I'd like to introduce Frank McClement once again, the director of Saratoga County Veteran Service Agency.
Thanks again, Tamim. Thanks, folks. Just a couple of quick items before we close the inside portion of our ceremony. A lot of moving parts go into this. We have a kind of a small and intimate room here, but there's so many people that get involved, in addition to all of our elected officials and representatives here. First and foremost, I have to thank my team and my staff for not only the work on this ceremony, but the work that they do serving veterans every day. The main focus of this ceremony, all the clerical work and all the background stuff, is done by that young lady, Megan Cutbush, back there. She does a great job. Of course, Tamim Ferris is here, and we already talked about how much of a legend he is, so that's good. And Erin Cassidy, our Peer Connection Program Coordinator, she isn't here, but she's actually, she's over leading a group of veterans working on a health and wellness project today, so she's not with us, but she also does a fantastic job. I want to thank the other county departments, our county attorney, obviously the county clerk and his staff, and our district attorney, but also Bridget Ryder and Therese Conley here at the Board of Supervisors for the setup, our building and grounds team, as well as our county administrator's office and our public affairs office, Christine Rush and Ann Van Vorst. So a lot of folks get involved in this, and we're really lucky to work in a county that recognizes and supports our veterans, and none more than our board and our Board of Supervisors. And I don't say that lightly. They are active and engaged. We have a Veterans Committee, of which our Navy veteran and supervisor is our chair, Ian Murray. And they coordinate all of our programs. Of course, Army veteran, our chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Phil Barrett. So we work in a culture that is very supportive of veterans in this county. And not every county does it that way, but we do it that way here. I also want to mention that Lauren Roberts normally would take over this part of the ceremony, but she couldn't be here. She's off working very hard on celebrating and commemorating the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War and the battles of Saratoga. I would encourage everyone in the room to go to the website, Saratoga250.com. Do I have that right, Steve? Saratoga250.com. Sign up for updates. We've got a lot of great things going on to commemorate the 250th anniversary of our history. And I think in honor of all of our veterans, including Jack Ivers, it's important that we look back and remember where we came from. So if you can do that, and thanks to Lauren for everything that she's doing. She's leading the nation in celebrating this stuff, and she's really doing a great job. And I'm happy to be a part of it. With that, we had another World War II Navy vet that had an idea years ago to sing Amazing Grace to close this ceremony out. A gentleman by the name of Chris Scambotti. Normally Lauren sings it, but you're all stuck with me. So the words are on the back of the program. I would ask that you please join me and stand. After this, we will all move outside to the front of the building for the flag raising. I would ask the family to stick around for a quick photograph with our elected officials before moving outside. Everyone else, if we can move outside, and then we'll go outside to finish out the ceremony. With that, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Thank you very much. This has been one of the best stories of military service that I've heard in my career here, and it's been a true honor to honor Jack Ivers. So thank you. Again, please move outside, and the family, if you could come forward, we're going to take some pictures and go from there. Thank you very much.
Everybody, thank you so much for coming today. I'd like to introduce Captain Chief again one last time for our closing prayer.
Be gracious unto us, our Heavenly Father, and bless us as we depart from our safe veteran service. Stretch forth your protection, guard our